Hi there, it's Alan and
Emily.
coming to you from Science in a Van, and we are in the shed in the beautiful 275 South Auckland having a fantastic time. We've got a great show coming up for you today. Today we're going to explain our show that we do in schools called The Science of Sound. And this is aimed to give you an overview of that show, but don't worry, it's still full of heaps of fun, exciting experiments, lots of fun demos, and we're going to have lots of laugh. And Emily,
Yes.
there's going to be, of course, joke of the day.
If you don't know about Science in a Van, as already, we actually travel all over Aotearoa doing science shows in school halls and primary and intermediate schools all over the country. We do things like blow giant bubbles and talk about mixtures. We fire rubber chickens on water rockets and talk about horses. We're very lucky. We have lots and lots of fun. And we've actually been doing this since 2011.
So, the science behind sound is fascinating. The science behind sound is fascinating. And we have a 45-minute show about the science of sound called The Science of Sound. Creative, I know. But anyway, and in this show we're going to give you an overview of what that show looked like when we come to schools. We're also going to give you some content to create great conversations and be confident about talking about sound in your classrooms. Also, there's going to be heaps of demos and experiments that you can either do in your classroom or at home, Emily.
Oh, heaps.
Heaps of stuff. And, as well as all of that, there's going to be some extra content, as well. Yep.
Excellent. I love a bit of extra content. So sound is super fun, and the basics is actually really easy to get your head around, which I love. So this is the big one. We've got a chime here, okay? So if I hit it, it actually vibrates, right? So what the basics about the science behind sound is caused by vibrations, okay? Sound is caused by vibrations. So when I hit this chime, the chime vibrates, that actually vibrates the ear, which vibrates the ear, which vibrates your ear. And it's amazing, your eardrum and the hairs in your ear, they make sense of those vibrations. They send it as pulses to your brain, and your brain makes sense of it, which I think is absolutely incredible.
Ah.
So in your classrooms at home, you can do this now actually, to really get your head around it. If you put your hand on your throat,
Yep.
And your vocal cords are right there. So if you say vibrations as deep as you can, vibrations. I can't go that deep. You can go quite deep. You can feel your vocal cords vibrating, right? That is actually vibrating the ear, which is vibrating the ear, which is actually vibrating all the amazing things in your ear. They get sent as pulses to the brain, and your brain makes sense of them, which I think, like I said, it still blows my mind. I think that's amazing. So the basics is sound is caused by vibrations.
So, Emily, I love it. Sound is caused by vibrations. But there's lots of other observations made about sound, and we're going to test one of those out today. One of the other observations about sound is sound needs a material to travel through. Sound needs a material to travel through. So we're going to test and see if that is true. Okay? So, first of all, here I have something known as a vacuum jar, and this blue pipe here goes down to a pump, okay? And the pump will suck all the air out of the jar, or suck all the material out of the jar. The red thing that's hanging in the jar is known as the angry sausage.
He's very angry.
In a few moments, I'm going to pull the tail off the angry sausage. That will make him scream and shout. I will then put him in the jar, put the jar back down, and then we're ready to start the experiment.
Angry sausage does get very angry. He's very noisy. So the thing about thinking like a scientist is all about the scientific process. Part of that process is about making observations. So we're going to do that first today. We're going to make some observations about when Alan puts the angry sausage in the jar. When I point to my ear, I want you to take like a recording, I want you to think about how loud the angry sausage is, okay? And we're going to sort of store that, and then we're going to compare it. So we're going to store it when there's material in the jar and when there's material out of the jar.
So, here we go. Go pull the towel off your angry sausage, send him into a rage.
He's so angry. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let's have a little listen. You got that?
Yep.
So that's the sound it makes when there's air inside the jar. Now Alan's going to take that air away. He's going to take all the material away around the angry sausage. But you'll see the light's still flashing, so it's still making noise.
Cool. So, observation. Let's suck the air out. So the noise you can hear is now the pump sucking all the air out of the jar. Like Emily said, it's sucking the air out of the jar, or another way we can talk about it is it is sucking the material from around the angry sausage out as well. So it's removing the air or the material from around the sausage. The sausage is doing the same thing, okay? The angry sausage is still screaming and shouting. It's still the same amount of vibrations, because sound is caused by vibrations, and he's still creating the same amount of noise. Now, let's see how we're going here. Oh, we're doing pretty well. I'm just going to turn that there.
Okay, get ready to make another observation, okay? So we're going to turn it off.
So, Emily, was the observation number 1, observation number 2, was they the same?
No, they were different.
Cool, what's the difference?
Hopefully you heard this at home as well, but when there was air around, material around the angry sausage, I could definitely hear it better. And now that all the air's taken away, it's quite hard to hear.
Quite hard to hear. So by removing the air from around it, we can't hear the angry sausage in the same way. And that, my friends, all comes back to sound is caused by vibrations. And that other sentence that we're testing here, sound needs vibrations to sound needs a material to travel through. Sound needs a material to travel through. So what's happened is we're still creating the same amount of vibrations, but there's less material for it to travel through, so we're hearing it differently. So the angry sausage has not changed.
No, still
however, the amount of material, the variable we have changed is the amount of material around the angry sausage to carry the vibrations.
Well, if we're going to think like scientists, let's do the scientific process. Let's make some predictions, let's make some guesses. In a moment, Alan's going to let the material, he's going to let the air back into the jar. So have a think about, is this going to change what we experience as sound? Now the material will come back. So have a think about that. Make a prediction. It sounds like this now. Will it be different? Let's have a go. Let that air back in now. Hopefully you can hear that at home, but it's definitely louder. And when we do this in a school hall, it's way more obvious. It's just a bit hard to send it through the Wi-Fi, I think. But yeah, it's a great experiment to really see how sound needs a material to travel through.
Cool, excellent. I'm just going to wrestle the angry sausage and get him back in.
You be careful, Alan.
So, here we go.
I've got to cover my ears. He's very angry. There we go.
Oh, there we go. So, I tell you what, my friends, that was quite very dangerous with the angry sausage.
Very dangerous.
So, everyone take a deep breath. Everyone let out. I feel a lot better now. So there we go.
Too much angriness.
So the show is centred around the whole thing of sound is caused by vibrations. But as we go through the show with lots of exciting demos, we visit lots of other phenomenon about sound that happens around that sentence, sound is caused vibrations. For example, here we looked at that sound needs a material to travel through. Sound needs a material to travel through. So there's heaps of phenomenon that happen around that sentence, and Em's here with another one.
So much. So
much.
Here's something about sound that you'll be super familiar with. We're going to be talking about volume. Yep, we all know about volume. I'm sure as parents and teachers, you never ever say, oh, everybody, there's not enough volume in here. Can you please make some more noise? No, that never happens. So when we talk about volume, it's actually all about energy. And let me explain it to you. Got the chime again. If I use a little bit of energy, there's a little bit of noise, a little bit of volume, a little bit of sound, right? But if I use more energy, it's quite loud, eh? It's quite annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, alright.
So more energy, more volume, and that makes sense because we know that sound is caused by vibrations. So the more you put into it, the more energy, the more vibrations, the more noise, the more sound, the more volume. So what we need to remember is sound is energy.
Sound is energy. There we go. Next experiment, please. There we go. So, next experiment, please. So, Emily's beautifully demonstrated the volume there. Sound is energy, more volume, and stuff like that. Now, I've got a great experiment for you to do in your classrooms or at home. We don't do this in our show because visually watching it isn't that exciting, but the person experiencing it is phenomenal and it's amazing. So I'm going to explain it to you and a few variables and other ways around it, and then you can try this at your leisure. So don't worry about trying to do it with us now. This is something you can take back into your classroom and do a lot of sort of inquiry based stuff around it as well. Now what you need is a metal coat hanger, some string, and you will need some scissors as well, but I've got everything prepped ready to go. So here I have a metal coat hanger. Yes, it's a giant metal coat hanger.
Oh, is that when you used to play the Hulk?
Yeah, that's right, I used to play the Hulk. There you go, cool. So you tie the string round your metal coat hangers at the ends like this. You take the string and you twist it round your fingers, and then you put your fingers in your ears. I'm going to stand up a bit, there we go. And now you've got it twisted round your fingers, you put your fingers in your ears, and then you bang the coat hanger onto things like
on the
this.
most expensive thing in the room, how about that? On the table. Alan, that looks really ridiculous.
It does look ridiculous and it doesn't look like much to you watching, but if you try it, it's a fantastic party. Now, just to let you know what's going on here, when we hit this against the table, that's our energy, we're swinging it into the table, that creates vibrations. The metal coat hanger vibrates, the vibrations travel through the coat hanger, travel through the string, travel through our fingers, and then travels to our eardrums. So the vibrations is again travelling through the material of the coat hanger and the string and our finger to our ears. Now, Emily.
Yes.
Metal coat hangers are a bit hard to come by.
They surprisingly are.
And giant metal coat hangers are even harder to come by.
Yeah,
yes?
we don't need any more of those. No.
Well, basically, anything metal that can be tied to a piece of string kind of works. And when I say kind of, it works in different ways. So I've got a few things here for you to try, Emily.
Oh.
I've got a metal teapot with two pieces of string on.
I do
So
like
hold a
tea.
string in each hand. It's
Do I
empty.
get a cup of tea?
Wind it up.
No. in my ears, eh?
Yeah, gently in your ears. Don't push them too hard in your ears. And now.
Oh yeah, that is a party.
Cool. So.
Can you hear that?
I can hear it donking, but you're going to hear it very different to
It
us.
sounds like one of those beautiful chimes. Like, it's actually pretty cool.
So you're telling me that whole clunky teapot, through that process, sounds like a beautiful chime?
It actually does.
It actually does. So we can put the teapot down. So that's the teapot. So my friends, we can try lots of different things. Do you want to try this?
Yes, I do. This
There
better
we go.
sound like a nice chime as well.
Well, let's see. This is a
No pressure.
this is a metal measuring cup. Now I say
I'm going to put it metal to metal.
I say metal because
Oh.
it's from a metal coat hanger.
Oh.
But you can try different materials and
That's
compare them together, and you will find a few surprises as you go along. How was that?
Not a zen.
Not a zen. Cool. And this is This is a spoon, and it's
One of our wedding presents,
one of
actually.
our wedding presents. So,
Science is everywhere.
the wedding present. What a great band they were, eh? There we go.
Is that a
Anyway,
band?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, that sounded good from here, but what did it sound like to you, Emily?
sounded really awesome.
Sounded really awesome.
Oh, you have to try that.
Cool.
one.
I have to try it. So, yeah.
Do you know what I really love about this experiment, especially if you're doing it in your classroom or home? It's sort of figuring. It's really good, right?
That's beautiful.
It's really sort of hard to get your head around and needs a material to travel through, especially when sound usually gets to us travelling through the ear and we can't see the ear. So this is a great experiment to really get through to the students and the kids at home that you need a material to travel through. In the summer, I'm guessing. Also, get them to scream underwater. That's always fun as well.
Cool. So,
This is new.
end of that experiment. So this is, like Emily says, this is a great experiment, and I love it for lots of reasons. And the thing I've just realised is if you take a piece of rope like this, or a piece of string, maybe a little longer and stuff, and carry that around with you, wherever you see a metal object, you can try it out in cafes, in restaurants, in bars, you know, wherever you go, you can try it out. And my friends, like Emily said, the exploration behind this is great. You can compare other objects, make a prediction of, like, I've tried this, by looking at this, is it going to be better or worse, or the same or different, and things like that, and compare different shapes and different kinds of materials together. And like Emily said, really big thing on this, I think, is great value, is I think your students will love doing this, and it really gets across those two sentences we've been banging hard in this Science in a Van Live. The idea that sound is caused by vibrations, and sound needs a material to travel through. And we hear this slightly differently because it's travelling through the cut and the string and our fingers, not through the air. So there's that kind of avenue of, we can hear sound differently than just it travelling through the air.
I can do that too.
There we go.
We need this in our life.
Cool.
Alright. So, although I'm a bit nervous about taking Alan out in public with a piece of string, anyway. But you may be in a cafe that hasn't got the memo that plastic straws are awful. So there's still a few around. So, I'm going to show you something you can do with a plastic straw. So what you do, you flatten the end of the plastic straw. This is a great experiment you can do in your classroom or at home. Oh, I thought they had string on it as well.
Nah, don't try scissors and swing them around.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Okay, so, and you're going to cut it into like a pointiness.
Yeah.
A point.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what they do when they're showing makeup on. Anyway, I learned that the other day. So you flatten it, and what you're going to do is you're going to blow through it. So you can think like a scientist now and think about, is this going to make a noise or not? What's your prediction, Alan?
I reckon you're going to fire a giant pea out of that.
I thought you were going to predict it might not work, because it often doesn't work on my first go. But anyway, there we go. I don't know why I keep stopping, but that's hilarious.
Try a long note.
Excuse me.
That was brilliant. I love it.
So, this is another way to get across. It takes a bit of fiddling around with so you're used to it. But it's another way to get across about vibrations, alright, with sound. Because your lips tingle when you do this. It's like a homemade kazoo, okay? Because the ends are moving with your breath, and they're moving really, really fast. Okay, so we're going to do another experiment where I'm going to try my hardest to blow through this and cut it at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah, my prediction is I probably won't be able to do it without having to take another breath. But I want you to make a prediction at home or at school. Is it going to change the sound? Alright, shall we try it?
My prediction is, and remember predictions are guesses, my prediction is, this is very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Would you like to do it with your bed?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, that joined together.
Emily,
yes.
from my observations of hearing that, as you cut the straw, the sound got more squeaky and more comical, and as the scissors got near your face, it got more and more dangerous and scary.
And funny.
And funny, yeah. All the time.
So, you could call it more squeaky, that is very valid, Alan, but it's also a change in pitch, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah. So pitch is another great word to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pitch changes, and it's all to do with the sound wave. So it started with a brrr and went to a ee. So brrr is a low pitch and a ee is a high pitch. Now we're not going to go really into this today, but that is part of our sound show videos, which we're going to be putting up to help you through teaching and learning about sound. So that goes through how the sound waves change and the pitch change, and we also talk about frequency. So look out for those.
Cool, excellent. So I hope you're getting the idea that our Science of Sound show is fantastic fun. It's for years 4 to 8. It's 45 minutes long. It happens live in front of their eyes on the stage in their school, and it's full of demos. Some of the demos, like the vacuum jar and the straw, are in it, and we covered today, but there's heaps of other demos as well. And like Emily says, the straw experiment, we do go in more in depth about the sound waves and what the length of the straw and the length of the sound wave has got to do. We also go in depth about volume, and we look at decibels as well, and there's a great experiment that we need your whole, like the whole audience of 200 and odd students to help us with as well. That's great fun. We also talk about why our ears are where they are, and we fire the audience with a pressure wave.
Oh, that is quite
so there is heaps of stuff that we haven't spoken about today, and heaps of more demos in our show as well. Emily also mentioned a set of sound videos that we're going to be having up on our YouTube channel as well, going more in depth behind these things and more as well. So there's lots to do.
Yeah, so those are the Sound Week videos. If you go into YouTube, they're actually up now. Check them out. And if you want us to come to your school in person, please check out our website, .co.nz, and get in touch. We'll be happy to work that out. Thank you for your ongoing support. We really, really appreciate it. But Alan, we are at the end of our show.
Cool.
And
excellent.
it's time for Joke of the Day.
Here we go. Let's start the drum roll.
Oh, let's start.
Time for Joke of the Day.
Was that the joke? So, Alan, you know that sound travels through materials, right?
Yep.
So, did you know that if you put your ear and place it on a stranger's leg, you can hear them say, "What the hell are you doing?" That's on point, right?
There we go. So I'm going.
I thought that was pretty good.
I'm going to walk around with my pieces of string and try that out. That sounds like great fun. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
There we go. So my friends, been fantastic doing this for you today. If you're watching us live either on YouTube or Facebook, thank you so much.
Please
if you're
subscribe.
watching us later, fantastic, thank you. You are beautiful. So all that's left to do is say, my friends, stay like a proton.
Stay positive.
Hey.